before we even got into pursuing DW as a product line, we knew the importance of artists. Ed Shaughnessy was one of our first. Remember when he did the clinic at the...
Oh, you've got that.
Yeah.
Energy Force.
Energy Force Clinic. The first clinic we did, this was back
God
in
bless him.
1975.
Was that at Santa Monica?
Santa Monica, yeah. This was kind of, we got a guy, the both of us, with a little store giving drum lessons, and we're putting on a big band at Santa Monica Civic, and just scared to death, like who's going to show up. But we had 300 or 400 people show up. It was a huge...
It was wonderful. That's when clinics really were, people were curious and interested, and the market got saturated with them, so people backed off a little bit.
But how important today education still is. It's such a huge part of what we dream of and what we do. And then there was our dear, dear friend for all of his life, Jim Chapin, who did clinics for us back at that point in time, too. I was at a PAS show here in Los Angeles. The one time it was in LA, I think, maybe in their entire history. And Vinny was doing the show, and there was a lot of clinicians doing the show. And Jim Chapin wrote one of the iconic drum books of all time. And
Advanced Studies for the Modern
Drummer, right, for independence. But he wasn't playing with a major band. He was a clinician, a teacher, wasn't affiliated with necessarily a university, but everybody knew of him as being a phenomenal educator. But no drum company had picked him up as an artist or an endorsee because he wasn't with a popular band. So I was at a McDonald's, and I was sitting at a booth by myself grabbing a hamburger, and behind me was Jim with a couple of other people, don't recall who with, but the conversation was, Jim, you should be doing a clinic here too, and he wasn't. And he said, well, I can't do it because I don't have any endorsements. So I turned around from my booth I was in, and I just said, hey, Jim, it's Don Lombardi, and he had been playing the pedal, got the pedal. I said, you have a company you're with, I'll endorse you. You're with DW. We should set something up. So the following year he was able, because you had to have a company behind you who would pay your clinic fee. The next year he became a DW endorsee at PAS, did clinics, and was part of our history in our life through all those years. And we won't tell him now, but boy, do we have some Jim Chapin stories that we could tell.
Oh my God.
Some hysterical ones.
Hysterical. But he was a lovely man.
A lovely man.
And he was, a good friend of ours, not just yours and your family, but mine and my family. And he would come stay at our house. And I've got some great pictures, which maybe we could show everyone.
Fly those in. We should do a whole segment on Jim Chapin stories.
So we'll do that.
There's some that you couldn't make up and you wouldn't believe, but they're true. So the importance of Jim Chapin and Ed Shaughnessy, of course, was hugely popular, the drummer on The Tonight Show. Jim Chapin, other drummers like him. We brought a lot of artists on board who weren't with hugely popular bands, but were very influential in teaching the drummers who were with those bands. And we always felt that was a big part of how we wanted to support the community. Absolutely.
And your focus on education was monumental, even though, and I'm preaching Don Lombardi's story, but I was the worst student he ever had. I mean, had to be. Hands down. And so...
Only because he didn't listen.
My wife tells me that often. But anyway, that's how all this got wound up into a lifelong story.